Let's talk about boundaries. Or actually, let this estranged parent talk about boundaries.
These bad therapists are pushing this agenda for no contact and estrangement and setting boundaries and teaching more to build walls instead of building bridges or learning in conflict resolution, right?
So it's the internet's fault, of course. And moreover, it's the internet therapist's fault that, these estrangements are occurring. We have an agenda, right? Because we benefit from people not being in toxic, traumatizing relationships anymore. The fact of the matter is that if somebody, an adult child, I'm an estranged adult child, I have been for over 30 years. I'm a mother of 3, a grandmother to 2, and also a therapist working in narcissistic family systems. And I much rather see repair in a relationship. However, when it can't happen because the parent is unwilling to take any accountability, is unwilling to respect boundaries, is unwilling to truly see their adult child as an individual and treat them the way that they treat perfect strangers, for example, when they're unwilling to do all those things and somebody estranges, they eventually don't need me anymore. So it actually doesn't do anything for my agenda because I don't have one. What I'm saying is when we heal and we're no longer being set on fire, the need for therapy in the long term diminishes over time much quicker than if somebody's staying in a toxic relationship. I wonder if she understands that. Anywho, see, she's talking about how boundaries create walls. I personally believe that boundaries create bridges where you are able to walk across and know that that other person is a safe person because they receive your boundaries well and they respect them. Boundaries are not controlling other people's behavior. Boundaries are to keep ourselves safe and secure in the relationships that we want to be in, right? In the relationships that we can be in. Because if somebody's constantly hurting you and you're constantly throwing down those boundaries, well, that's when the walls go up. And then, of course, she says something about conflict resolution. Well, I don't know about you, but I will speak for myself and every client I've ever had who's grown up underneath an emotionally immature parent, a narcissistic parent, or like me, my mother is a sociopath and a narcissist. None of us have conflict resolution skills until we go and work on them, typically in therapy. And why is that? Because they weren't modeled for us in childhood. And in childhood, we weren't allowed to bring up anything that could possibly set our parents' hair on fire because we would receive punishment for that. A lot of us lived in fear of our parents. We didn't know what boundaries were or that we had a right to set them, let alone learn how, to resolve conflict. It was my way or the highway and shut the F up, right? That's what it was like. And, oh, how dare you? Oh, I'm not the perfect parent. You know the whole thing. So as adults, when we start to figure out what a healthy relationship looks like, we start to have healthy relationships. We also learn how to resolve conflict and understand that if we're unhappy about something, the world isn't going to implode and stop spinning. It takes a long time and a lot of work to get there. Anyway, here's the other part of the video that I want you to listen to about setting boundaries.
We know that you all are pushing that anytime there's a disagreement, your parents are narcissistic. Anytime somebody doesn't want to hear what their parents have to say, set boundaries and go no contact. We know there's a big agenda that you guys are pushing when you are toxic yourselves. A lot of y'all have issues yourselves. You have childhood wounds, you have other wounds, and you probably should be on somebody's couch instead of having somebody on yours. So your kids. Grab my book, Reclaim, and don't forget I have a podcast that streams on all your favorite platforms. As a matter of fact, I have a podcast episode coming out on Friday, the 16th, that's going to help moms set boundaries when those estranged children do decide to reach out to you. All right? Okay. All right. Bye. Be on the lookout. Turn your notifications on. Bye.
Did you catch that? She is going to teach estranged parents, do a podcast for estranged parents on boundary setting. I thought they built walls.
Bring it on in, running out to go get my hair cut. It's a mess, but I digress. We all know that social media and these bad therapists are pushing this agenda for no contact and estrangement and setting boundaries and teaching more to build walls instead of building bridges or learning in conflict resolution, right? But I find it very interesting how these are the same therapists that like to get in my comments and they like to ask me, where's your license from? What degree do you have? Are you a therapist? Well, first of all, let me dab my top lip. I've never said that I was a therapist. I don't want to be a therapist. I make it quite clear that I'm not a therapist. That's not my purpose. My purpose is coming from a mom who's experienced quite a bit in motherhood for the last 29 years and the last 34 years. So the next time you get in my comments and you ask me what my credentials are or where my licenses are or where my certifications are, I want to see your kids. Okay, I want to see your kids because experience is the best teacher. We know that you all are pushing that anytime there's a disagreement, your parents are narcissistic. Anytime somebody doesn't want to hear what their parents have to say, set boundaries and go no contact. We know there's a big agenda that you guys are pushing when you are toxic yourselves. A lot of y'all have issues yourselves. You have childhood wounds, you have other wounds, and you probably should be on somebody's couch instead of having somebody on yours. So the next time you decide to get in my comments and ask me where my degree is from, or where my license is from, or am I a therapist, you need to do some self-reflection. And you need to show me your kids and let me know where your experience comes from, not as a therapist, not as somebody who's read a book and regurgitating all of these social media echo chamber words like narcissistic, toxic, set boundaries, trauma, abuse. You know the ones y'all like to throw around. Show me your kids. Okay? All right. Don't forget, grab my book, Identity, and don't forget I have a podcast that streams on all your favorite platforms. As a matter of fact, I have a podcast episode coming out on Friday, the 16th, that's going to help moms set boundaries when those estranged children do decide to reach out to you. All right? Okay. All right. Bye. Be on the lookout. Turn your notifications on. Bye.